Vera Rostova moved through the opulent reception with the chilling grace of a winter storm. An accomplished assassin from Eastern Europe, her reputation for silent precision was legendary in circles that thrived in shadows. But beneath the icy composure was a woman cracking under duress. Her family, particularly her younger sister Lena, was held captive by Echelon, a clandestine syndicate that demanded her absolute lethal obedience. Lena's cherished photograph, tucked securely in Vera's locket, was a constant, painful reminder of the life she fought to protect, a life far removed from this world of deadly assignments. The stakes were impossibly high. Her family's survival hinged on her success. Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, pulsed with nervous energy. President Ibrahim Traoré, young, resolute, and fiercely dedicated to his nation's sovereignty, was a beacon of hope for many, but a significant obstacle for others. The air was thick with unspoken tensions, the undercurrents of foreign interference swirling beneath a fragile surface of diplomatic calm. Vera, under the impeccable guise of a cultural attaché, navigated this complex world, her true mission a dark secret. The inciting incident arrived as a coded message. President Ibrahim Traoré was her next target. Echelon's instructions were explicit. The assassination was to occur during an upcoming private state dinner at the Koshian Palace, the seat of presidential power. The method, a custom-developed, untraceable poison, disguised within a sophisticated delivery mechanism she was to employ. Her meticulously crafted persona and sharp intellect quickly granted her access to the president's outer circle. Through a series of carefully orchestrated diplomatic encounters, where she feigned interest in Burkinabe art and culture, Vera secured the coveted invitation to the private dinner in the palace gardens. The plan was locking into place. Watching her, however, was Daniel Mensah, a mid-level UN aide. Ambitious yet increasingly troubled, Daniel had become peripherally entangled with Echelon's network, primarily as an information conduit. He was also secretly, deeply infatuated with Vera, drawn to her enigmatic strength. He noticed the growing shadows under her eyes, the almost imperceptible tremor in her hands when she thought no one was looking, and grew deeply concerned as the finality of her preparations for the dinner became apparent. He began to suspect the unthinkable. President Traoré himself was her target. The private dinner commenced in an intimate corner of the Koshian Palace gardens. The scent of night-blooming jasmine hung in the warm air. President Ibrahim Traoré, contrary to the stern image often portrayed, spoke with unexpected, disarming candor. He shared his profound dreams for Burkina Faso, his vision of a self-reliant Africa, and lamented the betrayals he sensed from nations that profess friendship while maneuvering for influence. They offer aid with one hand, he said, his voice resonating with quiet conviction, and weave nets of dependency with the other. True sovereignty is a path walked with eyes wide open, often alone. His words, devoid of political rhetoric and filled with raw, human honesty, struck a chord deep within Vera. She saw not just a target, but a man carrying an immense burden, a man whose aspirations for his people mirrored her own desperate yearning for her family's freedom. The vial of poison, nestled discreetly in her palm, suddenly felt like a lead weight. Her steely resolve, honed over years of brutal assignments, began to waver. Could she extinguish this light, this voice of genuine hope, even for Lena? Daniel Mensah, monitoring the dinner via discreet audio link, a standard Echelon protocol to surveil their high-value operatives, listened with growing dread. He heard President Traoré's powerful speech and then, critically, Vera's uncharacteristic, prolonged silence when a clear opportunity to administer the poison arose. He recognized her hesitation. In Echelon's unforgiving calculus, hesitation was a fatal sin. If she faltered or was caught, her life and her family's would be forfeit. The internal conflict ripped through Vera. Her mission, her family's faces, Echelon's chilling threats, all war against a profound impact of Traoré's words and the sudden, sickening realization of what she was about to do. For Daniel, the conflict was equally agonizing. His ingrained fear of Echelon clashed with his desperate, protective feelings for Vera and a dawning, horrified respect for the president she was meant to kill. As Vera's hand, holding the vial, trembled almost imperceptibly over the president's unattended wine glass, Daniel made his choice. It was a desperate, terrible gamble. He activated a burner phone and sent an anonymous, pre-typed text message directly to the mobile of General Diallo, President Traoré's fiercely loyal security chief. Assassination attempt. Cosium garden dinner. Poison. Female attaché. Imminent. The response was instantaneous. Elite presidential guards, materializing from the shadows with disciplined speed, stormed the private dinner area. Vera, caught completely off guard, was apprehended before she could react further. The tiny, almost invisible poison dispenser was found in her clenched fist. President Traoré, shocked but his composure intact, was quickly secured. From a discreet observation point, Daniel watched the scene unfold, his heart hammering against his ribs. He had likely saved Vera from capture or death mid-act, and certainly saved the president. But at what cost to her, to himself? As a stunned President Traoré demanded immediate answers from his security chief, Daniel, racked with guilt and a desperate need to somehow mitigate the damage for Vera, made another impulsive decision. He stepped out of the shadows, feigning shock, and confessed to General Diallo and then to the president himself that he had overheard suspicious communications and felt compelled to send a warning. He carefully worded his admission, hoping to appear as a concerned bystander who had acted heroically, all while trying to subtly signal to Vera that he was the source of the alarm, perhaps hoping she'd understand he was trying to save her from a worse fate. Vera, seeing Daniel, felt a sharp pang of betrayal, quickly followed by a strange, unwelcome wave of relief. The unbearable burden of her decision had been lifted, albeit in the worst possible way. In a secure, sterile interrogation room deep within the palace, President Ibrahim Traoré faced Vera. His initial fury was a palpable force in the small space. But Vera, with nothing left to lose, met his gaze. She saw not just anger, but also the flicker of questioning from their earlier conversation. She laid her truth bare, her real identity, her family held hostage by Echelon, her forced servitude as their assassin. She explained that Echelon wasn't merely a criminal gang, but a sophisticated entity manipulating geopolitical landscapes, aiming to destabilize the Sahel region to install puppet regimes favorable to their shadowy backers. "I was a tool, Mr. President," she stated, her voice flat, devoid of emotion, a weapon they pointed. "My only choice was who would suffer more if I refused." President Traoré listened, his expression slowly shifting from anger to a grim, thoughtful understanding. He saw not a cold-blooded killer, but a highly skilled individual weaponized by desperation. More importantly, he recognized a larger, more insidious threat she had exposed. A public trial and execution would silence Vera, perhaps even making her a martyr or a convenient scapegoat, playing directly into Echelon's hands. He chose a different path. He offered Vera a dangerous, unconventional way out. She would make a public, televised statement. In it, she would confess to being an operative of a foreign power sent to infiltrate Burkina Faso. But, crucially, she would state that, upon witnessing President Traoré's unwavering commitment to his people and African sovereignty, she had a crisis of conscience and chose to defy her orders at the last moment, deciding instead to expose a broader, nefarious conspiracy against Burkina Faso and, indeed, all of Africa. This narrative would sow chaos within Echelon's ranks, alert other African nations, and position Traoré as a leader who could turn even his enemies. Soon after a carefully choreographed public statement, Vera Rostova vanished from official custody. News reports cited a daring and mysterious escape, but the reality was a quietly facilitated departure, orchestrated by Traoré's most trusted agents. She left behind a small, heavily encrypted data chip for the president and a single, handwritten note on simple paper. "Truth is never safe. This is your key. Use it wisely. V." Addressing the international press later, President Traoré spoke of a complex security situation that had been neutralized. He confirmed Ms. Rostova was no longer in custody and stated that she had provided a vital key, an insight into the external forces attempting to undermine our nation's progress. In the weeks that followed, President Traoré initiated sweeping reforms in his government security protocols, particularly concerning information security, foreign delegations, and the vetting of international aids. He now possessed a crucial piece of intelligence, a key to begin understanding, and perhaps dismantling, echelon's pervasive network, or at least to better shield his nation and others from their manipulative tactics. The fight for true sovereignty was far from over, but new, critical understanding had dawned. Truth, he knew, was indeed a perilous weapon, but sometimes it was the only one that could truly set you free. The final message was clear. The quest for national self-determination is fraught with hidden dangers and sophisticated adversaries. Yet, even in the darkest corners of espionage and betrayal, the spark of human conscience can ignite, and truth, however dangerous, holds the power to reshape destinies. What did you think of Vera's choice and President Traoré's strategy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that delve into the complexities of our world.